Hello, namaste, and welcome to Itihas, where we talk about people of the past and interesting historical events. Do subscribe to our channel to join us in this journey as we unravel the pages of history. Today we are talking about the top 10 largest empires in world history, so stay tuned. Starting at number 10, we have the Portuguese Empire. The Portuguese Empire was the first of the European colonial empires, and it also happens to be the longest lived, spanning a total of 6 centuries from 1415 to 1999 AD. After the Second World War, the colonization movement gained momentum, and while Portugal resisted the decolonization process, the empire eventually finally ended with the handover of Macau to China in 1999, which covered 4.8% of the total land area. In number 9, we have the Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyad Caliphate is the first great Muslim-led dynasty, and the Arabization program of this dynasty is credited for the spread of Islam and the Arabic language in a huge part of the world. The Umayyad Caliphate covered 5.02 million square miles of land, which was more than 8% of the total land of the earth, and the empire had 62 million people between 720 and 750, which was nearly 30% of the world's population at that time. The Second Islamic Caliphate was founded in Arabia after Prophet Muhammad's death, and while the Umayyad family originated in Mecca but chose Damascus as its capital. The Umayyad Caliphate, whose name comes from the great-grandfather of the first Umayyad Caliph, ruled between 661 and 750 AD. Next in line in number 8, we have the Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasid Caliphate covered 4.29 million square miles of land, which was more than 7% of the Earth's landmass. The empire had an unknown population number in 750 and claimed Baghdad as its capital. While population numbers are unknown, the empire lasted from 750 to 1258 AD, and this caliphate remained in power until the Mongol invasion in 1258 put an end to its reign. The 3-century rule of this caliphate cultivated intellectual and cultural developments in the Middle East during the period known as the Golden Age of Islam. In number 7, we have the Yuan Dynasty. The Yuan Dynasty, which was founded by the grandson of Genghis Khan, began in 1271. 5 years after founding the dynasty, Kublai Khan captured the capital of the rival Southern Song Dynasty and unified all of China. This empire is known to be the first one to use paper currency, but a series of natural disasters and the emergence of the bubonic plague and rebellions eventually ended this empire. The Yuan dynasty covered 5.41 million square miles of land, which was more than 9% of Earth's landmass. The empire had almost 60 million people in 1291, about 17% of the world's population. The dynasty enjoyed a bountiful life, encouraging trade with foreign countries, as well as the visit from famed Italian merchant Marco Polo. In number 6, we have the Second French Empire. The Second French Empire from 1852 to 1870 was ruled by Napoleon III. Increasing opposition to the government, the defeat of France in the Battle of Sedan during the Franco-Prussian War, followed by an uprising in Paris, all led to the abdication of Napoleon III and ultimately the end of this empire. In number 5, we have the Spanish Empire. Rival of the Portuguese Empire, the Spanish Empire from late 15th to the mid-20th century was the empire where the sun never set, because its territory was big enough that at least one part of it was in daylight at any point in time. This empire reigned over multiple territories in Europe, Ocean, Africa, the Americas, and the Philippines. The Spanish Empire covered 7.72 million square miles of land, which was more than 13% of the Earth's landmass, and the empire had 68.2 million people between 1740 and 1790, which is about 12% of the world's population. In number 4, we have the Jing Empire. The Jing Empire from 1644 to 1912 was the last of the Chinese imperial dynasties. The Jing society is characterized by a conservative shift, worsening punishment for homosexuals, and heightened demand for purity among women, and an increased stigma over accepting widows as wives. Literature and stage plays deemed to be subversive were banned. This dynasty fell in 1911 through a revolution which began in 1984. The Jing Dynasty covered 5.68 million square miles of land, nearly 10% of Earth's landmass, and the empire had more than 432 million people in 1851, which was more than 35% of the world's population. In number 3, we have the Russian Empire. The Russian Empire from 1721 to 1917 was established after Russia won against the Swedish and Polish empires in the Great Northern War. The February Revolution, which sparked from the strain on Russia due to World War I, ended this empire. The Russian Empire covered 9.15 million square miles of land, which was more than 15% of the Earth's landmass, and the empire had 176.4 million people in 1913, which was more than 9% of the world's population. In number 2, we have the Mongol Empire. While the second in list, the Mongol Empire from 1206 to 1638 is the largest contiguous land empire in history. This empire was founded in 1206 by Genghis Khan. A series of invasion and conquest made this large empire possible. These conquests are some of the deadliest in history, and however, these conquests also established the roots of trade as well as technology between the East and the West. The Mongol Empire started disintegrating in 1368 and was eventually taken over by the Chinese Ming Dynasty. The Mongol Empire covered 9.15 million square miles of land, which was more than 16% of the Earth's landmass. The empire had 110 million people between 1270 and 1309, which was more than 25% of the world's population. Finally, in number 1, we have the British Empire. The largest empire in history is the British Empire, and the British Empire was catalyzed by the establishment of trading posts by London-based trade business known as the East India Company. Just like the Spanish Empire, the sun never set in this empire, occupying at least one territory in each of our modern continents, excluding Antarctica. The Second World War severely bankrupted this empire, and this, as well as the growing unrest among its colonies, eventually led to the fall of this empire. The British Empire covered 13.01 million square miles of land, which was more than 22% of Earth's landmass. The empire had 458 million people in 1938, which was more than 20% of the world's population. Well, that is all for 10 largest empires in world history, and I hope you guys like this video. Do support us by subscribing to this channel, and thank you. Have a great day.